वैराग्य विद्या निज भक्ति योगा शिक्षार्थमेक पुरुष पुराना श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य शरीर धारी कृपाम्बुदीय तमहं प्रपद्ये मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणम् वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So warm welcome everyone in this study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, under the direct blessings of Shishi Khorantai Mayapur Sashi. We continue our study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So yesterday we did chapter 12, text 1 and 2, and we were discussing this question. What is your honest opinion about the scarcity of food in the rest of the world? So we were discussing this, and whilst discussing this, what is your honest opinion about the scarcity of food in the rest of the world? So, and the survey went like this, like first started off from India, and again that what is honesty? Not so sure what is honesty. And then China, what does opinion mean? And scarcity, Western Europe countries and other countries, what does scarcity mean? And further, say Africa, what does food mean? And like say, so the thing is, rest of the world, what does the rest of the world mean, like, so the thing is, honesty. No, honesty, what is honesty? Again, we discuss honesty is like loyalty with Krishna. Loyalty meaning what? Understanding what Krishna wants and being loyal to that. Otherwise, mundane honesty, mundane morality doesn't really help. Morality is good if it helps us connect with Krishna. Morality is good if it helps us connect with Krishna. So honesty, real honesty, when we actually understand who is Krishna, who am I, what is my relationship with Krishna, then that real austerity can be, honesty would be much appreciated. And opinion, again, we are not much opinionated. In the practice of Krishna consciousness, we are not so much in about opinion, because we want the opinion of the Shastras. We want what the opinion of what is the opinion of Krishna? What does Krishna say? What is the opinion of Shastras? What is the opinion of Acharyas? Because whatever Krishna says, that is the conclusion. In some places in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says something, and in Bhagavatam also, and that is the conclusion for us. So whatever Krishna says. So personally, again, independently having my opinion, but if it doesn't tie up with Krishna, then it's not very helpful. About the scarcity, again, scarcity is what? Scarcity is of understanding the love of Krishna. That is the real scarcity. The knowledge of Krishna, the love of Krishna. Food, yeah, and again, food more than physical food for the well-being of body, food for the soul, which is again love and kindness and beauty of Krishna. That is what is lacking. And in the rest of the world, how can we come out from this egoistic mentality This my country, my land, my street, my this, my that, to more universal Krishna conscious mentality, egoistic mentality, to my real ego. That my real ego is I belong to Krishna. That's my real ego. I belong to Krishna, and um everyone, whosoever I come across, belongs to Krishna. So if I can have that vision, then there will be no, say, discrimination. Differences will always be there. So this is a question. What is the difference between differences and discrimination? So what is the difference between, say, difference and discrimination? Am I asking it right? Like, differences will always be there. Differences will always be there. Differences are there and will always be there. Differences as in gap, skin color difference, body color difference, that is there and is going to stay. But discrimination need not be there. No? Inequality, unequal treatment, sort of based on those differences, they need not stay there. So, and this is how, when we understand the science of soul and that I belong to Krishna, then one could be European, Asian, American, whatever background, say, culture and all, we can embrace, we can respect, we can have that common brotherhood again, we can have that universal brotherhood once we are settled with the universal fatherhood. Otherwise, if I'm not settled with universal fatherhood, there can never be universal brotherhood. Okay, so again on differences will be there in this world, but discrimination need not be there. Okay, so we continue Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, text 3 and 3 and 4. Harsha can read maybe. Huh? Yatva अक्षरमनिर्देश्यम् अव्यक्तं पर्युपासते सर्वत्र गमचिन्त्यं च स्कुतस्तमचलं ध्रुवं सनीयेन्द्रियग्रामं सर्वत्र समबुद्धये बुद्धय ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रता. Asha, would you be okay to read?
Yes, sure. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed, and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone. Such persons, engaged in the welfare of all, at last achieve me. Those who do not directly worship the Supreme Godhead, Krishna, but who attempt to achieve the same goal by an indirect process, also ultimately achieve the same goal, Sri Krishna. After many births, the man of wisdom seeks refuge in me, knowing that Vasudeva is all. When a person comes to full knowledge After many births, he surrenders unto Lord Krishna. When a person comes to full knowledge after many births, he surrenders unto Lord Krishna. If one approaches the Godhead by the method mentioned in this verse, he has to control the senses, render service to everyone, render service to everyone, and engage in the welfare of all beings. It is inferred that one has to approach Lord Krishna, otherwise, there is no perfect realization. It is inferred that one has to approach Lord Krishna, otherwise, there is no perfect realization. Often, there is much penance involved before one fully surrenders unto him. In order to perceive the super soul within the individual soul, one has to cease the sensual activities of seeing, hearing, tasting, working, etc. Then one comes to understand that the Supreme Soul is present everywhere. Realizing this, one envies no living entity. He sees no difference between man and animal because he sees soul only, not the outer covering. But for the common man, this method of impersonal realization is very difficult. But for the common man, this method of impersonal realization is very difficult. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone. Such persons, engaged in the welfare of all, at last achieve me.
Hare Krishna. Very nice translation, very nice purports. Huh? Anyone got any thoughts, questions, or comments in general, say, before we discuss any further? Harsha, any thoughts, questions, or comment reading this translation purport? See, in Bhagavad Gita 7:19, Krishna says, Bahunam janmanam ante Gyanvan mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlava. Like after many lives, one who is in knowledge. Okay, we asked this question before also. What is the purpose of knowledge? Acquiring knowledge, what it should give me, what it should lead to. When can I say, okay, yes, the person is knowledgeable? What are the qualities? What are the qualities that make a person knowledgeable? Any thoughts, Lucy, Kunal, Harsha? We all are after knowledge, right? And we all have gone to school, acquired some knowledge and all. So what is the purpose of knowledge? What should knowledge bring about? See, the purpose of knowledge, what it should bring about is, first of all, humility. If with knowledge it is not bringing humility, then the knowledge is not based on wisdom. It is not spiritual knowledge. If the knowledge is not making me humble, then it is not knowledge in the true sense, or I am not taking the knowledge properly. So knowledge should never make me arrogant. No, I should never feel any arrogance that, oh, look, I've studied so much. At such a young age, I studied this much and I've traveled this much and I've worked this much and made this much money out of my intelligence, knowledge, and stamina, capacity, and efforts. This is what not knowledge should do. No, it shouldn't make me arrogant. It should make me more grounded. It should make me more humble. It should more make me more accepting the result. It should make me more empathetic and sympathetic. No, it should make me more inclusive. It should make me more detached. So, and I struggle to understand if such sort of knowledge is provided in school, college, uni. I doubt. This is why, see, world will be such a better place before school starts, like as in before the classes start in the school. If children and teacher they both sit down, study Bhagavad Gita, maybe one shloka only, say 15 minutes. They read Bhagavad Gita translation and purport and do 1 or 2 rounds of japa, and then you go to school. Then you start with your classes, huh? And lunchtime break, recess, maybe do 1 or 2 rounds, or definitely before closing school, before the last subject in the school, on last 20 minutes, again read one shloka from Bhagavad Gita, discuss and do 1 round of japa, then go home. See, if such a policy is adopted, na, there won't be fights in the school. At the time of leaving the school, if everyone is chanting, doing 1 or 2 rounds of japa and reading Bhagavad Gita, one shloka, two shloka, and having some discussion, everyone will feel very energized, very motivated, very peaceful, calm. And then that negative tendency or passionate tendency to fight and all because of misidentification crisis, considering oneself to be the body and wanting to be the enjoyer, wanting to load it over material nature, those egoistic things they won't be there. Person's real nature, the soul's real nature will come about. Compassionate nature, kind, loving, caring nature would come about. Likewise, at work, before starting work, if work people can do one japa and read one Bhagavad Gita shloka lunchtime also, and then before closing work also read one shloka, discuss translation purport, and 1 round of japa. In house, there would be relationships will be very good. So knowledge should make us humble. Knowledge should never make us pride or puffed up. Nah. Knowledge should not lead us into unregulated. See, knowledge. If knowledge is making my mind restless, is it really knowledge? If knowledge is giving me low self-esteem, is it really knowledge? And see, now there are so many people in this world, working people, lawyer, doctor, engineer, and all, well educated, but mind is not controlled. Wow. Yeah. Gone through PhD, might have done PhD, the highest study and all. So much studied for so many years, different places, but mind is restless. Mind is not controlled. Mind is not peaceful. Then are we really acquiring a substantial knowledge? So knowledge should never make us proud. Knowledge should make us humble. It should not make us arrogant. And another what? Knowledge should help us surrender to Krishna. That is the purpose of knowledge, to find out Krishna. If we are actually taking knowledge, we'll understand that the source of knowledge is Krishna. And then surrender to Krishna. Knowledge is meant to fall in love with Krishna. We acquire so many knowledge, right? If I want to go to Switzerland, oh wow, I've heard it is very beautiful. Italy, Paris, London, very beautiful, say, places in India, places in Japan, Australia, America, some beautiful places. Now I gather some knowledge, I go there, and ultimately what? To kind of have a loving time, a good time, some good memory, good experiences. So likewise, knowledge should point me to Krishna. And what do we do with Krishna? Fall in love with Krishna. That is what we do. Serve Krishna, love Krishna. So knowledge should make me to surrender to Krishna. That should be the purpose. So Krishna says, Bahunam janmanamante jnanvan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. If we actually want to become a Mahatma, a great soul, a great pious soul, then surrender to Krishna and practice Krishna consciousness. And this like takes lifetime. If we are in the path of practicing Krishna consciousness, then it is assured that one has done all the austerities and sacrifices and penances. See, we have been through all the requirements of the Vedic life, say everything covered. The very fact that, because what is the requirement? The Vedas, they point us to Krishna only, and they want us to love and serve Krishna. They want us to become a devotee of Krishna. They want us to chant the holy names of Krishna. And if we are actually in that process doing that, that means that we have covered all the requirements of the Vedas. Hmm? We have gone through all those austerities, and also nothing much is required. The highest austerity in this mind is if I can control my mind in this world, if I can have a controlled, peaceful mind. And how would that come about? When I give time to the mind, when I sit with my mind, when I spend time with my mind. Now, here in Karuna Bhavan, ISKCON Scotland, and worldwide, wherever devotees have the opportunity to live in temple, live in ashram life, they spend minimum 4 hours with themselves and with friends. Like, can we say any place in the world wherein I give myself 4 hours to my mind? Starting from half 4 in the morning till half 8, Mangalarti, and then Narsinga Pranam, Tulasi Arti, Japa, Guru Puja, Darshanarti, Guru Puja, Bhagavatam class. All this minimum 4 hours. What do devotees do? Build the relationship amongst each other, and also sit down and have their personal mantra meditation japa, giving time. And after these 4 hours of giving time to myself, training my mind, sitting down and building relationships, studying scriptures, shastra, such a holistic overall process. See, in these first 4 hours of the day, there is philosophy, huh? There is culture, in the sense singing and dancing with devotees. There's etiquette, there's philosophy, there's culture, there's expression of love, there's glorification. So much of nourishment for the mind and soul. There's exercise also, physical exercise also involved in this. huh? And then after half 8, you go and sit down with devotees, take prasadam, such a delight, and then off to your services, work and all, and then go in the society, engage with people. So before engaging with people, before I engage myself anywhere, I should first look after my mind. So japa should be our topmost priority. Very, very important to do japa. One round consists of 108 beads, right? Doing one round of japa. So we should be doing full 108 beads, one round, and then 2 rounds, 3 rounds, and all. That is the purpose of knowledge. And as like this shloka says, na, but those who fully worship the unmanifested. What does unmanifested mean? Kunal, Harsha, Lucy.
Is it those who worship other gods, demigods?
So Kunal says unmanifested means those who worship other gods, demigods. No, unmanifested, manifest means that which has come into being, that which has come into picture, that which
Yeah,
has
which is
come
not
into,
hidden.
Yes, that which has come into light, that which has come to pass. उजागर हो गया. इन हिंदी से ना व्यक्त व्यक्त हो गया भाई, पता चल गया, उजागर हो गया, प्रकट हो गया. हाँ, प्रकट हो गया है, which has come into being. And unmanifested means अव्यक्त. अव्यक्त है ना, जो उजागर नहीं हुआ, जो व्यक्त नहीं हुआ. That which has not come into being, that which has not come into pass as such. Doesn't mean that वो exist नहीं करता. It doesn't mean that it does not exist. Just like a simple proverb gives examples. A building, है ना? Now a building, when it is constructed, okay, we see, yeah, it has come to pass, it has come to light, it is building is there, it is manifested. But it's not like the building kind of the material and structure was not there. Yeah, the land was still there and everything was there. And now that has transformed itself into a building. So unmanifested means the avyak, the that which is not coming to being, that impersonal form of God. eh? There's a very Siddhantic shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam, Vadanti tat tattva vidas. Tattvam yaj jnanam advayam, advayam. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagwaniti Shabdyate. I think it comes in 1 to 11, Srimad Bhagavatam. So Advayam, Dvaya means Dvanda, duality, and Advayam means non-duality. And what is that non-duality? Like that that Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagwaniti Sabdyate. There is no duality in Brahma, which is effulgence, which is the all universal glaring effulgence of Krishna. Then Paramat, the localized aspect of Krishna. Localized, we say, no, like, oh, we should protect our local community, local market, like that, which is like close to us and all. So the localized aspect of Krishna is what? Krishna residing as God, as Paramatma within each and every living entity. In matter also, Krishna is supporting the matter, and us as well, human beings, na, souls trapped in this human body. Huh? Krishna is residing with us in our hearts, helping us, guiding us, witnessing us, huh? Inspiring us. So that is Paramatma. Then this universal manifestation is an energy of Krishna, Brahm, and Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwan, and ultimately Bhagwan. So the basis of the localized aspect, as in a big fire, a very small spark, and a candle. The basis of all that is Krishna. The small spark basis, like Paramatma. Atma means Anu. One of meaning of Atma is Anu. Anu meaning very minute. Very minute. No, Atma is so small it can never be traced. It can never be physically observed or seen. Huh? And Paramatma means lighter than the lightest, even smaller than the smallest. No? That is Krishna's speciality. He can simultaneously be smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest. So that is Brahma, which is bigger than the biggest. Asim, universal. And Paramatma, smaller than the smallest. And there is no Krishna, through his potency, it is very natural and easy for him. Then Bhagavan, the source of Brahma and the source of Paramatma as well, both of them. So Avyakta, unmanifested, meaning that which cannot be seen, the impersonal form of Krishna. So there are many worshippers in this world who worship the impersonal form of Krishna and who take that impersonal understanding of God to be the highest and absolute understanding of God. Like we briefly discussed yesterday, right? That Krishna, his body, then his body emanates light. Krishna's body emanates light, effulgence, glow. And if we see also, no, may we see some of the personalities in this world, people say, wow, there's such a tej, such an aura coming from his body, wow, such positivity, ooze of energy and all this. So Krishna's body emanates glow and light, and it is actually From that Krishna's body emanation of glow light, that this whole material universes, they find their light, they find their support, lifeline basis. Hmm. It is from that only that Lord Sun finds its feet in a way, its support and basis, and then he is able to give light to this universe. Uh, So Avyakt is that unmanifested, unseen form of Krishna, impersonal form of Krishna, which many worshippers, which many spiritual practitioners take to be the highest supreme form. And here Arjuna is asking which is better, worshipping Krishna you in person as a personal form, or in your impersonal form. Which one is better? That is what Arjuna asks. So here Krishna is saying about that unmanifest worship. So those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, because it is like Krishna's energy, na, impersonal form. So it is spiritual. It is spiritual, like Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwaniti Shabdate. Brahm means biggest, and Paramatma means very small, and Bhagwan. Bhagwan is the refer to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of them too. And God realization, Srila Vyasdev helps us understand God realization can be done in these three aspects only. And there is gradation also. Mm. That one who realizes God to be the all powerful, all pervading force, energy, entity. That is one. And then one who realizes God to be a localized entity, mm, like God who is residing within my heart, meditating on that. And then Bhagwan, God is a person. That is the highest realization. God is a person and a spiritual person, top to bottom, who has a life, lifestyle, family, friends, home, everything. So Prabhupada quotes many ways to help us understand. One of the examples, like he gives again in that 1 to 11 Shrimad Bhagavatam verse in purports and other places also, that suppose when we see the sun, you know, the sun. So what is sun? Heat and light. Na? The sun rays and the sun, they are non-different. The sun rays also have got heat and light, and the sun also a ball of fire. Hmm. So that rays of sun is the Paramatma aspect of the sun. That rays, the heat and light. So someone experiencing sunlight, say, huh, when sees that okay, sun rays have entered my room, or the sun rays has made the sort of the morning appear. So yes, okay, the sun is out, and he is experiencing, oh yes, there is sun, there is light. Mm. So that is true, but it is a very incomplete realization. Just seeing the rays, mm, it's an incomplete realization. Then someone comes out further and sees, oh, actually the rays are coming from this ball of fire, the sun globe. Hmm? That is a better realization. That is a bit of an advanced realization. And ultimate realization is what? Oh, understanding sun has got energy, heat and light, the rays. It's a ball of fire. Actually, it is a place, it is an abode where there is a person, the sun god himself, who has got a name, Vivaswan. Huh? And there are many other living entities living in the sun planet with the sun god, and they all have got the same properties. Well, in order for them to be living in the sun planet, in order for one to live, he should have that fiery properties. Otherwise, how would one be able to live? Like, we cannot float in air because we are humans, we can walk on earth. Our body and our psychology and our how nature is there works, we do not have that karma and that ability that we can float on air. We can at the best walk only. And demigods, their consciousness, their power and their position and capacity is very high. they cannot walk on earth. They are so rich in consciousness, elevated in comparison to us. They cannot walk on earth. They travel in sky. They float in air. Huh? So sun god also, for one to be living in the sun planet, one has to have those properties, fiery body. Only then one can live and survive. So that is the complete understanding of then sun. That okay, it's not just heat and light. It's not just rays. Huh? Sun is a globe, and then furthermore, actually is a person, a god, a sun god, a person who is full of heat, light, fire, and from whom everything is coming. Another Prabhupada gives this example again, same. It's like a few examples for us to understand, because we are spiritual practitioners, right? We are sadhaka, and again, life. One of the understanding of life is life means experiences, having experiences, and experiences come from knowledge, or knowledge also. If it is not giving me experience, then it is theory only. Uh, What is knowledge? If there is no experience of it, if I have not experienced in my consciousness, then it is theory. So Bhagavad Gita is not a theoretical subject matter. Practice of Krishna consciousness is not theoretical, because if we put our heart and mind and soul into it in association with devotees, in doing japa, listening to Bhagavatam, reading Shrimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita with devotees, we will experience spiritual realization. We will go through experiences, and that will be our realized knowledge. Otherwise, knowledge without experiences is like theory only, and theory doesn't help. Theory doesn't help. So another experience for us, we are experience seekers, right? We want to experience the grace of Krishna, the actually the real grace of Krishna. So uh, to advance in God realization, Brahm Paramatma, Bhagwan Shishikorantai Mahapusa Shiki. So there's this another example. What that uh, suppose we see from a distance what a big mountain. We see from a distance a big mountain. Then what do we see? Oh, a huge mountain, everything green and all. But we don't see much variety or anything. When we come closer, oh, we see yes, there's green, there's brown, there's land, further things. And as we come even further closer, what do we see? Oh, actually, big mountain. There is a river also in this mountain. There's a jharna. There's a waterfall. And then there are birds. There are birds in this mountain. Then there are people. There are houses. And there is some engagement. There is some life. So that is the highest realization. Likewise, in spiritual life, realization of what? Impersonal God. God is impersonal. God is light. God is ray. God is hope. God is kind. God is love. These are impersonal realizations of God. It's not like it is wrong. It is good in the sense it is freeing oneself from matter obsession. This is what the translation says, right? That those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, beyond the perception of the senses, meaning beyond material mundane calculation. Applying material mundane logic, I can never understand impersonal aspect of Krishna and what to speak of the personal aspect. This is why the practice of Krishna consciousness, Bhagavad Gita study teachings, and japa and the overall practice should make one firmly realize what? That spiritual life, spiritual journey, spiritual practice begins where material academia finds its limit, where material knowledge, material calculation, material logics find its limit. So the day I realize, okay, I have found my material logics limit and I put it to rest here. From there on, I can see, experience the grace and the mystery of Krishna. But if in my practice I'm going on with my material preconceived notion, ideas, logics, material understanding considerations, all these things, material intelligence, then I can never, my heart will never be open to experience that grace of Krishna. So Krishna can never be perceived from material senses. Hmm? The all-pervading, inconceivable, or unchanging. Now, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth. Absolute truth is there, but it is the impersonal conception. And however, in order to understand the impersonal conception also, the mind and sense control has to be done, and we have to see everyone with equal vision. Hmm? All those austerity and wisdom oriented, they have to be there and engage in the welfare of all. And by doing all this at last, then one is actually somewhere in the yoga ladder where he can have this impersonal realization. And further on, if he's still open, if he's still flexible, if he's still wanting to learn and know more, then he can seek the blessing of a devotee and actually understand the Krishna as a person and love and serve him. So here Krishna is saying, uh, for impersonal meditation, that these are, one has to be equally disposed, control his senses, and engage in the welfare of all. And that is what impersonal is, wherein we take God exists but in impersonal form. And impersonal form means there is no variety. Well, if there is no form, then where is variety? There is no variety, then there is no life, there is no engagement, there is no activity. Yet there is a bliss, a spiritual bliss. Yeah, it is there in comparison to the bliss of Kirtan, in comparison to the bliss of pure Krishna consciousness. It is like a drop in the ocean, that sort of bliss. Yeah? But that bliss, spiritual bliss, impersonal spiritual bliss, becomes very relishable. Why? Because that impersonal spiritual bliss is like an ocean in front of the material sense gratification. Material sense gratification is very fickle, it is very flickering, and material sense gratification is so dependent. It is dependent on money, it is dependent on drinks, entertainment. If all this is not there, then there is no material sense gratification. So in comparison to material sense gratification, impersonal spiritual happiness, which is freedom from duality and complete peaceful state, say, that appears so grand. Wow, that I've freed myself from matter and its uh, power. So it looks very good that finally I'm peaceful now. I'm not worrying. I've realized I'm not this body, I'm a spirit soul, and I'm antimatter, and I'm free from duality and all. So that gives one a good spiritual sort of relaxation. But it is not enough unless one takes shelter of Krishna. And that joy of practicing Krishna consciousness, being in a relationship and engagement with Krishna, is by far no comparison between that spiritual happiness derived from impersonal meditation. So, have I confused you enough, or is there more scope? Lucy, Asha, Kunal.
There is more scope, of course.
So this is and why a question? We roughly, fairly, whatever sense we understand somewhat impersonal meditation concept, right? It is uh, same like personal meditation. This is what we do, deity worship. It's such a personal worship, personal seva, dressing the deities, nah, offering food to the deities, putting them to rest, waking them up. All this now mantras, chanting mantras. They should be like, okay, speaking with deities and all. Hmm? Such a personal meditation. Hare Krishna Mahamantra Japa is also personal meditation, because it is not like it. The holy name is not like it. Uh, it is he. The holy name is a person. Harinam Prabhu, na? Huh? So holy name is a person, it's a personal meditation, and the japa, the focus should be in union of Radha and Krishna. That. So whatever we do in Krishna consciousness, our eating, dressing, wherever we go and all, it's such a personal process altogether. And we want to imbibe this culture, etiquette, and behavior with proper philosophy, with proper Siddhant principles to further and further enhance my Krishna consciousness. So much so that whatever I do and all, I am fully absorbed in that Krishna conscious thought. How, I mean, this life is a training ground. It is a preparation, and we aspire what, that tomorrow when I wake up, when I leave this body, aspiration is what, to get darshan of Krishna, uh, to see Krishna close proximity, to touch Krishna, to play with Krishna, to find a role in his Krishna's loving pastimes, which are eternal. So to find an eternal engagement. Now, in order for me to come to that culture, this training ground, this practice is there where we train ourselves. So that is personal worship meditation. And impersonal worship meditation is again what? That okay, everything comes from a light, a point. eh? The origin is a light, a point. The origin is impersonal. Now, where in this world we find that something has been caused by nothing as such? Something has been caused by a point, a light, a ray. But impersonal meditation takes, okay, the origin is a point, a light, a ray. And it is, and many say that Krishna, he is also impersonal. But after a point, at some point in time, when he sees the need, he takes a personal form and comes to this earth. And when he comes, he also gets bound up by material laws, material physical laws. That is like kind of epitome of maybe ludicrousy or epitome of kind of ignorance of Vedic Shastric knowledge and understanding. Completely asiddhantic. Krishna himself says na, in Bhagavad Gita, Devi esa gunamai mammaya durate tribir gune mayer bhaveva. Na? 7:13 he says that I am not within these modes at all. Inexhaustible. Krishna is inexhaustible. How can he be within these modes of material nature? So two things we need to understand: the Siddhant, the Tattva, the principle, the philosophy, and also the rasa. If we ignore the rasa, just go with Siddhant Tattva, we won't find very nourishment. And if we just go in rasa without understanding the principles, then also we will be uh, very soon dropping off practicing Krishna consciousness. We won't be getting that spiritual realization. We need both Tattva and rasa. So impersonal meditation is that God is formless, and we meditate on that universal being who is formless, or we meditate on that such a small localized, like who is smaller than the Atma itself. And ultimately I also become formless. And in order for me to be formless, I have to shut down all material sense gratification, all material sense engagement. I have to be very calm, peaceful, equal minded, equally disposed, everything like that. Then whatever pokes me, I won't be affected. Whatever lottery, even if I will, I won't be elated. I have to go complete numb, because God is ultimately numb. Mm, and in that numbness, yes, we find peace. And why peace? Because I'm not materially engaged. But spiritual practice is not like is it a fair understanding or definition of happiness, saying that happiness is what? Happiness is negation of sadness. If I say I'm not sad, does it mean I am happy? In a very trivial relative sense, if I'm not sad, okay, I'm fine. Why? Because I'm not sad, I'm not stressed. But is that real happiness? Such is like the case with impersonal happiness also. Impersonal meditation happiness. That, okay, I'm anti-matter. I'm freeing myself from the law of karma, from matter and matter's attraction, matter and matter engagement. So I'm freeing myself from sinful life. and I'm freeing myself from good life as well. So I'm freeing myself from karma. uh, but freeing myself from matter sense gratification doesn't give me a spiritual variegatedness. uh, But because I stuck myself in a no man's zone, no man's land, so I find at peace. Okay, yes, I'm at peace. No one is bothering me. No one can bother me because I've become so numb now. But in pure Krishna consciousness, we want to experience variegatedness in spiritual happiness. That is life in Goloka Vrindavan. So a question, why do you think this impersonal meditation becomes so lucrative for someone? That that God is formless, I am also formless, and through spiritual practice one day I can realize I am God and there is no difference between me and God, and I will go and merge in that formless and I will find lots of bliss. What is the motivation? Where is the encouragement? How can one find a lot? And this is kind of we are trying to understand here. What could be the motivation? So keep this question and we go to next text. We'll find that as well. Read the next text and then share some thoughts on the on this question. So 12.5 now we read, and I will ask Lucy if she can read translation and purport. क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्त हि गति अव्यक्त हि गति दुःखं देहवब्धिरवाप्यते. Lucy, would you be okay to read translation? Yeah.
For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. The group of transcendentalists who follow the path of the inconceivable, unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord are called jnana yogis, and persons who are in full Krishna consciousness, engaged in devotional service to the Lord, are called bhakti yogis. Now, here the difference between jnana yoga and bhakti yoga is definitely expressed. The process of jnana yoga is, although ultimately bringing one to the same goal, is very troublesome, whereas the path of bhakti yoga, the process of being in direct service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is easier and is natural for the embodied soul. The individual soul is embodied since time immemorial. It is very difficult for him to simply theoretically understand that he is not the body. Therefore, the bhakti yogi accepts the deity of Krishna as worshipable because there is some bodily conception fixed in the mind, which can thus be applied. Of course, worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form within the temple is not idol worship. There is evidence in the Vedic literature that worship may be saguna or nirguna, of the Supreme possessing or not possessing attributes. Worship of the deity in the temple. Worship of the deity in the temple is saguna worship, for the Lord is represented by material qualities. But the form of the Lord, though represented by material qualities such as stone, wood, or oil paint, is not actually material. That is the absolute nature of the Supreme Lord. A crude example may be given here. We may find some mailboxes on the street, and if we post our letters in those boxes, they will naturally go to their destination without difficulty. But any old box or an imitation which we may find somewhere but which is not authorized by the post office will not do the work. Similarly, God has an authorized representation in the deity form, which is called Achaviraha. This Achaviraha is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. God will accept service through that form. The Lord is omnipotent, all-powerful. Therefore, by his incarnation as Archa Vigraha, he can accept the services of the devotee just to make it convenient for the man in conditioned life. So, for a devotee, there is no difficulty in approaching the Supreme immediately and directly. But for those who are following the impersonal way to spiritual realization, the path is difficult. They have to understand the unmanifested representation of the Supreme through such Vedic literatures as the Upanishads, and they have to learn the language, understand the non-perceptual feelings, and realize all these processes. This is not very easy for a common man. A person in Krishna consciousness, engaged in devotional service, simply by the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, simply by offering regulative obeisances unto the deity, simply by hearing the glories of the Lord, and simply by eating the remnants of foodstuffs offered to the Lord, realizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead very easily. There is no doubt that the impersonalists are unnecessarily taking a troublesome path with the risk of not realizing the absolute truth at the ultimate end. But the personalist, without any risk, trouble, or difficulty, approaches the Supreme Personality directly. A similar passage appears in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is stated there that if one ultimately has to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this surrendering process is called bhakti, but instead takes the trouble to understand what is Brahman and what is not Brahman, and spends his whole life in that way, the result is simply troublesome. Therefore, it is advised here that one should not take up this troublesome path of self-realization, because there is uncertainty in the ultimate result. A living entity is eternally an individual soul, and if he wants to merge into the spiritual whole, he may accomplish the realization of the eternal and knowledgeable aspects of his original nature, but the blissful portion is not realized. By the grace of some devotee, such a transcendentalist, highly learned in the process of jnana yoga, may come to the point of bhakti yoga or devotional service. At that time, long practice in impersonalism also becomes a source of trouble, because he cannot give up the idea. Therefore, an embodied soul is always in difficulty with the unmanifest, both at the time of practice and at the time of realization. Every living soul is partially independent, and one should know for certain that this unmanifested realization is against the nature of his spiritual, blissful self. One should not take up this process. For every individual living entity, the process of Krishna consciousness, which entails full engagement in devotional service, is the best way. If one wants to ignore this devotional service, there is the danger of turning to atheism. Thus, the process of centering attention on the unmanifested, the inconceivable, which is beyond the approach of the senses, as already expressed in this verse, should never be encouraged at any time, especially in this age. It is not advised by Lord Krishna. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Lucy. So I think the question is fits right. Like, what, even though it is troublesome and all, yet what attracts? And they are telling you the more in terms of head count, if I say, there are many in this world who are into impersonal worship. Apparently, it may seem they are also going to temple, or they also go to temple and all, but the bhav, the mood, and see, many in this world were impersonal practitioners. The personal practitioners will be less, definitely less. So why, like, even if impersonal practicing is, say, very tough and very troublesome, and also the motivation, like if I know that ultimately, like, where is the motivation in this practice, knowing that the highest realization, the perfection, the attainment would be I also become formless and then I merge with God. What do you think would be a motivating factor in this? And I could well be speculating here, but some things which I will share some of my thoughts. Have you got any thoughts, questions, or comments in general also? Anything to ask, say, or add, clarify? See, one of the reason is that there's not much surrender required. Surrender as in there's no need to surrender to a personality. People fear surrendering to a personality. And why? Because people feel we are exploited by persons in this world, which is true. Because I've experienced so much of exploitation and harshness and by whom? By people. So ultimately, oh no, God, again a person, another exploitation, no. Then there's that element of fear. And so that's surrender. Also, avoiding responsibility or avoiding acknowledgement or responsibility in the sense, okay, if I surrender to God and then love God and God is a person, means I have to take some ownership, I have to take some responsibility, some initiative. Now that he's a person, I take some responsibility to be in a personal relationship with him, and then now I have to serve the person. In impersonalism, where do you serve the impersonal? Say, how do you serve the impersonal? It is only in words only, in lips only. There's no personal service involved. But here, again, the experiences of living in this world is so daunting for a person, can be right. That, oh no, I've served my boss enough, I've served my children enough, I've served my nation enough. Now I just don't want to serve anyone. So impersonal, no serving anyone. Yeah. no responsibility, no serving, no personal surrender, then I can easily be let off. I can get off the hook, and I can find peace also. Peace, why? Because no one would bother me, and I have to not bother anyone as well. No one is going to trouble me. No one is going to. I'm not accountable, na. In devotional service, oh, I feel myself accountable. What am I doing in the marathon month? Not going out distributing books. What am I doing? Sleeping so much, not waking up, not doing good japa and all. I feel myself accountable. Why I'm accountable to Guru and Gaurang to Krishna, but impersonal service, who do I? Who am I accountable to? The very so much like I could be driven by negative traumas in this world. Oh, variety is a problem in this world. Variety gives confusion. Variety leads to distraction. This body is a problem in this world. The senses are a problem in this world. I may think like this, right? That, oh, I have body, I have senses, so I engage in material sense gratification. Wouldn't it be nice if I don't have body? No झंझट, no झमेला, no क्या बोलेंगे झंझट झमेले को इंग्लिश में, no hassle, no hassle. That, oh, I don't have a body, I don't have senses, so no hassle of sense gratification, no hassle of karma, no hassle of having desires, no hassle of having any aim, aspiration, ambition. Just shanti, shanti, peace, peace. Peace is such a demanding word in this world. Huh? Peace, peace, peace. Because I feel okay, I'm getting left, right, center very much stressed in this world, bullied or put into circumstances, situation. So ultimately, peace, Baba, peace. But the real peace is where when I understand I am Krishna's. Na? Real peace is when Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. So Krishna is the supreme controller. This will give me so much of peace when I realize, oh, thank God that I'm not God. This will take off the burden from my shoulder because unnecessarily, material world means what? I've swept the role. I want to become little Krishna, and I'm considering myself to be the doer. I consider myself to be the enjoyer, to be the controller. And because of this, I put myself under stress. And what does Krishna want? He wants me to be an instrument in his hands. That way, I can be free of all the stress. He wants me to see Krishna's presence behind everywhere, everything. Huh? He wants me to take Krishna's shelter. The day I realize Krishna is in supreme control, then I will find control in life. Then I will find peace in life. Yeah. The day I realize Krishna knows this. Krishna has sanctioned this, good or bad. Krishna knows this, good or bad. Krishna is in proper full control. Then I can find peace. Imagine like if I know, oh, my dad knows of this. So something happened in school. And if I know, okay, fine, my dad knows. So I don't have to worry now. Because my dad knows. My dad can sort it out. So Krishna knows. My dad sanctioned it. Krishna sanctioned it. Krishna knows. Krishna can sort it out. We can do ourselves a big relief when I can tell myself that thank God I'm not God. Yeah. So let Krishna do the God thing. Let him be the God. Let him be the supreme controller, enjoyer, proprietor. And let me be serving him. But now I want to reverse the role. I want to swap. I want to be the center of all. So Krishna is saying, okay, you want to play little Krishna role. Come on. See, go, come on. Play this little Krishna. Be the center. And this is the problem. Now I consider I put myself to be in the center of all I survey. And then I get beaten up from left, right, center, all the corners. But center can only be one, and only it is a very heavy responsibility. Only Krishna can afford to be the center. It's a big responsibility, very heavy task. Krishna can easily, naturally afford to be at the center and communicate, reciprocate with each and everyone, matter, a spirit at an individual level. So let Krishna be who he is. And I come through the study of Bhagavad Gita, practice of Krishna consciousness, understanding who am I, a lover of Krishna, a devotee of Krishna. Then there won't be trouble. Otherwise, haunted, carrying experiences, traumas, and all, and then yeah, oh no, God is light, God is ray, God is hope. See, in such thing, God is light, God is ray, God is hope. It helps, right? That wow, God is so kind. Mm. But if I take God to be a person, means oh no, I've served so many bosses in life. Now God also a big boss. I have to serve him. What if God wants me to surrender? What if God tells me bring me flower? What if God tells me do this? What if God tells me uh, what if God tells me engage in preaching? Then I have to do something. So if God is not a person, no jhamela, no hassle. Huh? No person means no expectation, Baba. But see, the going through impersonal meditation, it's such an austerity. Mind senses have to be controlled, constantly motivated, disciplined, and ultimately achieving what? Uh, higher joy than material sense gratification. But Shishikorantai Mayapur Sashiki Jam. Uh, higher joy than mere material sense gratification. But in comparison to pure Krishna consciousness, the bliss in the ocean of pure Krishna consciousness, it is just like a drop only. Mm, just like a drop only. Okay, so any thoughts, questions, or comments? So, अव्यक्त आसक्त चेतसम है ना. अव्यक्त ही गतिर दुखम. So that is Krishna saying. And again, see, whatever Krishna says, an intelligent person is one who doesn't do much research. There's not much research required. Hmm? What Krishna is saying, not much research is required. What Krishna says, we take it to be the absolute truth. Huh? Having that faith, and how would that faith come about when we practice Krishna consciousness in the association of devotees? When we read, chant, hear for ourselves. Vedas don't lie, scriptures don't lie. Nah. And Vedas don't need proving, and whatever Vedas stated, it is material academic knowledge which is changing, which always changes. Sometimes, oh, there are these many planets, another time there are these many planets. Sometimes this is that constant value, this is the constant gravitational force value, another time this is, but Vedas don't change. No. Vedas, you know what is earth called in Sanskrit language, say? Bhugol. Huh? Bhumi. Bhugol. So Vedas from day one has been saying goal is what? Round, oval. Hmm? Bhumi. So earth is round, oval. Sanskrit is such a fascinating language, isn't it? See, here in this Sanskrit, Krishna and Arjuna are having a dialogue, and they are able to express such in these simple Sanskrit words, and so deep, so deep. And when was this spoken? 5,000 years ago. So contemporary and so relevant, because this science is inexhaustible, and we are looking for, we will find our saturation in inexhaustible. But why do we get saturated? Because in this world we are all after temporary material sense gratification, so we get exhausted. So enough of exhaustion, and now time to take on to that inexhaustible joy, which is permanent, which is not perishable. So there's this gradation in relation to material sense gratification. Impersonal sukh is very good. Impersonal pleasure. But in comparison to pure Krishna consciousness, wow, it is no more than a drop in the ocean. Okay, any thoughts, questions, or comments? Okay, let us read next then 6 and 7. And I will ask Kunal to read the translation. Ye tu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matparam ananyaneva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate teshamaham samudarta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami na chirat partha maya veshita chetasam. So, Kunal, read translation.
But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. It is explicitly stated that here that the devotees are very fortunate to be delivered very soon from material existence by the Lord. In pure devotional service, one comes to the realization that God is great and that the individual soul is subordinate to Him. His duty is to render service to the Lord, and if he does not, then he will render service to Maya. As stated before, the Supreme Lord can be appreciated only by devotional service. Therefore, one should be fully devoted. One should fix his mind fully on Krishna in order to achieve him. One should work only for Krishna. It does not matter in what kind of work one engages, but that work should be done only for Krishna. That is the standard of devotional service. The devotee does not desire any achievement other than pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His life's mission is to please Krishna, and he can sacrifice everything for Krishna's satisfaction, just as Arjuna did in the battle of Kurukshetra. The process is very simple. One can devote himself in this occupation and engage at the same time in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Such transcendental chanting attracts the devotee to the personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord herein announces that without delay, he will deliver a pure devotee, thus engaged from the ocean of material existence. Those who are advanced in yoga practice can willfully transfer the soul to whatever planet they like by the yoga process, and others take the opportunity in various ways. But as far as the devotee is concerned, it is clearly stated here that the Lord himself takes him. The devotee does not need to wait to become very experienced in order to transfer himself to the spiritual sky. In the Varaha Purana, this verse appears. Nayami paramam sthanam archiradi gatim vina garuda skandam aropya yatecham anirvaritaha. The purport of this verse is that a devotee does not need to practice Ashtanga Yoga in order to transfer his soul to the spiritual planets. The responsibility is taken by the Supreme Lord himself. He clearly states here that he himself becomes the deliverer. A child is completely cared for by his parents, and thus his position is secure. Similarly, a devotee does not need to endeavor to transfer himself by yoga practice to other planets. Rather, the Supreme Lord, by his great mercy, comes at once, riding on his bird carrier Garuda, and at once delivers the devotee from material existence. Although a man who has fallen in the ocean may struggle very hard and may be very expert in swimming, he cannot save himself. But if someone comes and picks him up from the water, then he is easily rescued. Similarly, the Lord picks up the devotee from this material existence. One simply has to practice the easy process of Krishna consciousness and fully engage himself in devotional service. Any intelligent man should always prefer the process of devotional service to all other paths. In the Narayani, this is confirmed as follows. Yavai sadhana sampatti purushartha chatushtaya taya vina tad apnoti narayana shraya. The purport of this verse is that one should not engage in the different processes of fruitive activity or cultivate knowledge by the mental speculative process. One who is devoted to the Supreme Personality can attain all the benefits derived from other yogic processes, speculation, rituals, sacrifices, charities, etc. That is the specific benediction of devotional service. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. A devotee of the Lord can approach the supreme destination easily and happily. But this destination cannot be approached by any other process of religion. The conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is stated in the 18th chapter. Sarva dharmam parityagam mam ekam saranam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokashishyami masucha. One should give up all other processes of self-realization and simply execute devotional service in Krishna consciousness. That will enable one to reach the highest perfection of life. There is no need for one to consider the sinful actions of his past life, because the Supreme Lord fully takes charge of him. Therefore, one should not futilely try to deliver himself with spiritual realization. Let everyone take shelter of the Supreme Omnipotent Godhead Krishna. That is the highest perfection of life. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death.
Sure. Yeah. So Krishna, he's speaking like in second he said like on the personal worship of Godhead, and he gave his opinion in the second, and again where Krishna gives his opinion, that is like the highest thing, na? For that is the conclusion for us. So in second text we see Krishna says, those whose minds are fixed on me and those who worship me in their in my personal form with faith, love and service, engaging themselves, and Krishna considers them to be the most perfect. And then 3, 4, 5 he shows like on the impersonal meditation. Oh, what is his take on impersonal meditation? And then 6, 7, like Krishna is saying, he himself personally takes responsibility. Like I'm the swift deliverer for them. Of course, those who worship Krishna in personal form, Krishna is going to reciprocate with them. Those who not worship Krishna in personal form, there is kind of the reciprocation from there. But what reciprocation? If Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyam, as you come forward to me, accordingly I will reward you, na? As you surrender, accordingly I will reward you. So if one is, see, if one is so fixed up in getting impersonal liberation, Krishna won't ever force upon himself to him. Krishna won't force himself. There could be arrangements made for devotee association, for him, for the soul to understand, to revive his Krishna consciousness, to find his swarup in relation with Krishna. But if the soul himself is very adamant in finding impersonal liberation, then Krishna doesn't like that interference. So if someone wants that impersonal liberation, okay, Krishna says, fine. So wait. For now, if you're not ready to handle me, if you think that you have suffered lots of exploitation in this world, say, and you think that I am also exploitative God being a person like that, okay, fine. Continue with impersonal. But there's this shloka Rupa Goswami says, Krishna does for those who are wanting impersonal liberation and those who are very demoniac. Krishna treats them in the same. They both get the same destination. Those who are impersonal meditators, they find their destination in the Brahman effulgence, in the spiritual sky, in that no man's land, no man's zone. And those who are demoniac also, Krishna slaps them, beats them, say, and puts them where? Again, in a quiet room. A quiet room meaning where there is no variegatedness. In Brahma Jyoti, Brahma effulgence, Brahman effulgence, it's just light in there. Just light, and there's no activity happening. There's nothing there. Stagnation. There's a complete static. Hmm? So those who are after impersonal liberation go settle down there, take rest in peace. And those who are demonic also, they also find that same destination. But for devotees, it's a different ball game altogether. So Krishna is saying, Ye tu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matpara. Again, in our study of Bhagavad Gita, those shlokas, wherever words, Krishna speaking, words like mai, mam, mat, aham, they become very special. Because mai is unto me, mam unto me from me, I, aham. So all this, so Krishna, and see, from chapter 7 till 12, we'll find so many shlokas where aham, mam, mai, this comes. And also, if we see in our study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, up until chapter 6, a lot is discussed on mind control, controlling the senses, controlling the mind. From 7th on, it takes a different level, a different journey altogether. Where Krishna, from 7th on, where is he saying control the mind, control the senses? He has said in 7.1, Mai asakta mana partha. Just become attached to me. है And how? Through your mind. Mai asakta mana partha. That is mantra meditation, japa. To control our mind or becoming attached to Krishna through our mind. Because mind is the connecting link between the soul and Krishna. And mind is the trouble. So Krishna is saying, attach your mind to me. Maya Sakta Manapartha Yogam Yanjan Matashraya, taking my shelter and then full shelter in my complete shelter, then you perform yoga. Asam Sayam Samagram Mam Yatha Gyashasi Tachrinu. Asam Sayam, without doubt, whatever you need to know, I will reveal to you, you will get to know. In completeness, Samagram Mam. So from 7, it takes a different talk altogether, the study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, this discussion. And we'll see between 7 and 12, so many shlokas where Mai, Mam, Aham, Mat comes about. So Krishna is saying here, Ye tu sarvani karmani Mai sanyasya matpara. Ananya ye neva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate. Tesam aham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat. Bhavami na chirat partha, mai aveshita chetasa. Beautiful. So, ये तो सर्वाणी कर्माणी, सर्वाणी we understand all, karmani efforts. Mai sanyasya, sanyasya means reliance, giving up everything, giving up all material attachments, material understanding and all, taking shelter of Krishna, relying on Krishna, depending on Krishna. Mat para, na? Becoming attached to me. Mat para, and being sheltered by me. Ananya neva yogena, without any other consideration. Complete practice of loving devotional service. Mam Dhyanta Upasate, those who do worship, Dhyanta, meditating upon me. What does he do to them? For them, he is the swift deliverer. Tesam aham, aham, for them, I, Krishna, takes responsibility. I am the swift deliverer. Mrityu samsara sagarat, from where? From this mortal world. No, from the mortal world, from the ocean of material existence. And Chirat, Bhavamina Chirat Partha, very quickly, uh, or for a long time, been struggling in this material world, and very quickly Krishna swiftly delivers to them. Again, in this also, Maya Aveshata Chetasam, those who have fixed their consciousness upon me in my personal form. And he's saying this to Arjuna using his name Partha. Na? So this is what Krishna is offering, but those who worship me, giving up all the activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me. Wow. O son of Prita, for them I am the swift deliverer. Yeah? Like say courier delivery. Okay, we have booked Amazon, FedEx, and all. Okay, the parcel will come. But if no, if the company head CEO knows, okay, my daughter has booked something. My daughter wants a Christmas card. The CEO personally say will come taking the the Christmas card for the daughter. That sort of thing. Krishna takes us personally. So this thing we tried to discuss little bit here some time ago, right? When does Krishna take us personally? When does Krishna take a sadhaka, spiritual practitioner, a bhakta personally, seriously, personally, seriously? Harsha, Lucy, Kunal. When does Krishna take a sadhaka, a practitioner, a bhakta seriously or take him personally?
When we put our full sort of faith into him, when we meditate on his name, and
Nice, yeah. When we take shelter of him, when we put our faith on him, when we meditate his name. Okay, good, Harsha.
And when we surrender completely
Mhm.
ourselves to Him.
When we surrender completely ourselves to him, great. Okay, Lucy, you can also jump in. So, when does Krishna take us seriously, personally? When we take Krishna's devotees seriously. When we take Krishna's devotees seriously, only then Krishna takes us seriously. Krishna takes us then personally. When I take his devotees personally. Otherwise, faith, japa, doing his holy name, surrender, we do not understand surrender. Na? We need an inspiration, we need a role model. What does surrender mean? Otherwise, surrender means following the instructions of Krishna. And who is following the instructions of a Krishna? It is a devotee who is following the instruction of Krishna. So if I follow in the footsteps of devotee, then I can learn the art of surrender. Otherwise, see, in the name of surrender, oh no, I don't want devotee association. I don't want to follow a devotee. I will surrender by myself. Then what will happen? The very next day, I'll be surrendering to my mind actually, and thinking that yes, this is Krishna consciousness. Surrendering to my conditioned mind. Yeah. So Krishna takes us seriously when we take Krishna's devotees seriously. then yes, Krishna takes us very seriously, because then when we chant, we are authorized. Okay, because our japa is not pure, it's not it's full of offenses. But if I've roped in some devotee, then yes, then there is shelter for me. No? When I have devotee association, then there is that faith. Hmm? Then I can surrender, I can learn the art of surrender. And Krishna will appreciate more, saying, okay, yes, you are in the circle of my devotees and you are surrendering to my devotees. So if I can surrender to a devotee of Krishna and please a devotee of Krishna, then Krishna will have no worry. Just like a small example, to one might have got a job in a company. Okay, one might have been hired by a company, and generally in every company there is a probation period, right? Every company there is a probation period. 6 month probation period means what? Watching, testing, checking, everything is fine or not. So now in that person is working in the company 6 months under some guidance, right? Someone's vision, he's working. And after 6 months, if that the person's immediate boss says, yes, fine, you have been trained nicely and there's no background check more further required and your conduct is all good, your skill set and everything, your working is good. So that's your permanent role, permanent staff now, work permanently. Yeah? Then if the CEO doesn't need to check personally, if the immediate manager knows the policies of the company, the one who is joined recently, he doesn't know the policies. He barely knows. He knows, but very little bit here and there, isn't it? So that faith, that surrender, we know these things, but we are not very clear of it. We have some vague understanding. What does faith mean? What does surrender mean? What does japa mean? Because we are very new in the company, but we have some idea of it. But it is those who are already in the company, they know, Baba, what is faith, what is surrender, what to do, what not to do, mind control, peace control, phalana dimkana, they know everything, they've been through it. So in probation, they see, okay, yes, he's serving nicely, permanent. This is what, this whole life, we are actually on payroll. What does payroll mean? When when a criminal person is released, right? It's called now, he's on payroll. I think he has been given some time off. Okay, time off, correct yourself and see family. Likewise, also, we are kind of, we should be taking this as a time off. Okay, it's time to purify myself, it's time to correct myself. And when in the association of devotees, for whatever life we have remained in ourselves, say, if I can use it in for my internship, for my probation, as a probation period, and if a devotee sanctions, actually, yes, this he has become very pure now, he's very pure now, he has understood all the policies and all, and he's reliable, he's trustworthy, he respects company's assets, he knows and everything, breach and code of conduct and all the trainings and all, then Krishna will have no problem, because Krishna has trust. The company, the CEO has trust on the immediate manager, because he knows, okay, he has been trained, and the immediate manager, he knows his position. So the CEO will have no trouble, and CEO can go playing golf, with his friends, because the CEO has set up the values, the constitution, the laws and regulations of the company, right? The CEO has set that up, and he has got that administration and everything working. So CEO can easily play golf with his friends, and he knows that there is that immediate manager, and he's signing it off. Likewise, Krishna is busy, playing Vrindavan with his friends. And this material world and Vedas, everything is set up. And Krishna personally appears as his external manifestation in the form of a spiritual master. And it's when spiritual master signs off, then there's nothing further left for Krishna to check. So this is what, when we take Krishna's devotees seriously, then Krishna will take us every penny seriously. But until and unless I do not find my heart with a devotee association, and I might be going on reading, hearing, chanting, then what will happen? Very soon I will find fault. I will find fault with devotees, and my mind will tell me something. I won't get the message of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. No. So this is Krishna saying that those who are sold out to me, I'm the swift deliverer for them. from the ocean of birth and death. Krishna takes personal responsibility. है ना? Krishna has been doing and Krishna will do all the job. Agricultural field. How much does a farmer do? About 10% of the job. 90%, more than 90% Krishna has set up. The field, the grain, the irrigation, the rain, the air, the environment. The farmer has to do what? Sow the seed. So who provided the seed? Krishna. Farmer has to sow the seed, and what does it has to do? He has to check that water is being provided, that he's feeding and all those sort of things, and he has to make sure that unwanted plant he has to cut off. That is the thing. So almost everything Krishna is providing. Just on our part, we have to respect the seed, take care of the seed, sow it properly, and make sure that we are watering the seed, and make sure that any unwanted shrubs, bushes, weed which is growing, we are cutting it off. Huh? So likewise, Krishna has given us everything in this human form of life. Human form of life is a big blessing, and now having come across devotee association, we are certainly very, very blessed, but not yet fully blessed. There's a difference between becoming very blessed and fully blessed. And now this human form of life is for us to transport ourselves from becoming very blessed to fully blessed. And this journey can be covered up only in good devotee association. In good devotee association, we can become ourselves fully blessed. So this should be our aim and focus in life. Nothing less than fully blessed, becoming fully blessed. Having come across Krishna consciousness, we can experience how blessed my situation is, that I can practice Krishna consciousness. But that is not the end of it. Now we want to fully embrace ourselves in this practice and process of Krishna consciousness. So the whole journey from very blessed to fully blessed. And this is what Krishna is saying. I am the swift deliverer, making you the fully blessed, provided I allow Krishna to do his magic. Yeah. On my part, I should allow Krishna. I should make myself available, flexible, and then Krishna will do all his mysterious magic upon us. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Any thoughts, questions, or comments, or clarifications? Okay, as always, you keep my job very easy and simple. So thank you very much for that. You don't give me much trouble, huh? So which is good. Uh, and yeah, thank you for your patient listening and encouragement, the participation. So we'll continue our study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, but for now we put it to rest here because this is a timeless journey. It can never end. It is an endless journey. And this is not again just in words or some lip service. This is for experience. Life is for experience. Knowledge is in experience. So when we practice Krishna consciousness, we'll get practical experiences, realization. And a human form of life, if not gaining experience and realization, it is a waste, complete waste. And see this world, 8 billion people. How many people in this world just waste themselves in what? Intoxication, shopping, or just gossiping, or just casual life, just like that. How many people? And we come in life with ignorance and we leave also in ignorance. Such an irony, such a tragedy. Having so much of misconceptions about Bhagavad Gita, Krishna consciousness. But life is meant for experiences, life is meant for realization. And it is this practical experiences, realizations will give us conviction. And we would want to go all the way through to become fully blessed. Hare Krishna.